Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel, and I'm going to share with you why I believe that XRP will make a ton of people filthy rich. And I'm not going to focus so much in this video on the fundamentals. I talk about that ad nauseum, right? Like all the damn time. And it does matter, right? I think that fundamentals are of the utmost importance because the long-term viability of any cryptocurrency will be grounded upon that. That's why my investment thesis is that utility matters and will win the day. But there are other reasons that I want to talk about in this video having really everything to do with the rate of adoption, where we are right now, the opportunity for asymmetrical gains, because we're seeing record-setting numbers now in terms of people adopting cryptocurrency, using cryptocurrency to some degree. And the numbers are staggering compared to what we'd seen in years past, but a drop in the bucket considered how many people are on this lovely pandemic-ridden planet that we're riding on in 2020. I want to be clear that I'm not a financial advisor, and I do not have any sort of financial background, not offering financial advice, so do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. Now, before we go any further, if you would please delicately tap that like button, I would definitely appreciate the support. And if you are also a fan of the idea of XRP making so many people filthy rich, go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambeau channel. You will be in good company. This is indeed an XRP-centric channel. You know, it's also worth mentioning, too, XRP has already made a ton of people filthy freaking rich. Especially with that last parabolic run-up. There's so many people that just made out like crazy on the last market cycle. And so even though I anticipate, for reasons that I've cited in, within the last day or so, that this market cycle in terms of percent will not be as impressive as the last one in all likelihood. In terms of dollars, it's certainly going to blow it out of the water. But that's just because you see as more money enters the space, it takes more to flow in to get a doubling, tripling, quadrupling effect of really any cryptocurrency to see those types of ridiculous gains. But the dollar amounts keep getting bigger. That's most certainly true. And so here's the headline from Daily Hodl. Number of crypto users shatters 100 million worldwide, says Cambridge study. The University of Cambridge estimates that the number of global crypto asset users has increased by a whopping 189% since 2018. Well, how is that? Now, how is that possible? I thought that the end of 2017 and the beginning of 2018, that signaled the end of the crypto asset class. The bubble had popped. The world was ending. No more Bitcoin, no more XRP, no more crypto in general. Yet here we are 3 years later, and history just keeps on proving that the crypto asset class is here to stay. And if you just would take the time to pay attention to what's going on, you could start to understand that there's not just a price associated with cryptocurrencies, but real value. And as a result, even though we don't know how this is all going to pan out, the asset class simply is not going away. Now, a piece continues. In its new global crypto asset benchmarking study, the Cambridge Center for Alternative Finance, CCAF for short, identifies up to 101 million unique crypto asset users across 191 million accounts opened at service providers in the third quarter of 2020. So that's some pretty gosh darn new data. We just entered the fourth quarter here of 2020, yesterday. Anyway, so the CCAF says the sharp increase may be due to both an increase in the number of existing accounts as well as a heightened ability to connect individuals to those accounts. And though staking in the crypto asset sector is primarily driven by retail investors, the CCAF's report also finds that a growing number of European and American institutional investors wish to expose their portfolios to crypto assets. And indeed, we did just see MicroStrategy, publicly traded company, invested almost $500 million that was just hanging out on the balance sheet into Bitcoin specifically. Not into blockchain companies, specifically into Bitcoin. And I've talked about why that makes sense, and I think that ultimately you're going to see more publicly traded companies invest in additional cryptocurrencies, including XRP. But I just, in a nutshell, I'm not going to explain any further in this video. I've talked about this before, but to me it makes sense as to why they're doing it. Bitcoin, from their perspective, right or wrong, is the most proven to this point. Right? It's got the most liquidity, the most history. There are all sorts of reasons along those lines. And some of the reasons are very solid, especially considering the argument to be made for crypto in general. And Bitcoin just happened to be the first. But even just as a store of value, and it's a scarce asset, there's all sorts of reasons. But I still think that other Publicly traded companies will be delving into XRP and others, and you know what that'll do for supply and demand too, right? It's going to be something here. But the CCAF hypothesizes that Ether's swift rise in popularity is backed by growing number of decentralized applications that are built upon Ethereum's blockchain and by the increasing demand for ERC20 tokens. And just wait, I'm going to talk about XRP more in just a second here. Check this out, though. Stablecoins have also seen a significant increase in availability since the CCAF's last report. The share of service providers that support Tether and non-Tether stablecoins from 2017 to 2020 jumped by 28% and 50% respectively. So this keeps going the direction that we, even 3 years ago, would have anticipated things are going. It's just increased adoption, and it's all coming here. And so take a look at this, and then I'm going to share with you some numbers that I crunched myself before recording this video. From time to time, I mentioned the technology bell curve. I haven't pulled it up in a video in a long-ass time, so I did it here. So here's one from right here. So this is a technology bell curve. It's really just illustrate. It's a graphical representation of the rate at which a population will adopt any given technology over whatever period of time. And so you can see here they're citing that the first to adopt this technology, any new technology, would be the innovators. And that would be about 2.5% of the population. Then you have the early adopters. Not quite as awesome as the innovators, but the early adopters are next, and that's 13.5% of the population. Then you have the early majority. That's another 34% of the population. Then you've got the last half, which are not, these are not the cool kids. You got the late majority, that's another 34%. And then you have the laggards who just sticks in the mud, couldn't see the vision from the beginning. They begrudgingly adopt at some point, and some of them probably never do. There's got to be individuals out there that never do, but those are the laggards, 16% of the population. So it's not that it's going to break down exactly to those percentages. It's a concept, and it rings true. There's absolute truth to how this all plays out. And so consider this. So they cited there the number of 100 million people have adopted crypto. Well, there are roughly 7.8 billion people on the planet. So what's that turn out to be? Well, that means that roughly 1.2% of humans on the planet have started playing around with crypto. They've owned, held, sold, whatever, 1.2% of the population. And that's not with just Bitcoin or just name your cryptocurrency. That's with all of them combined. 1.2%. So almost nobody. Here you are, though, in the know. You see, you are more savvy, in my estimation. You're aware of this. You understand the implications, the opportunity for potentially a great gains. I'm suspecting, I'm putting words in your mouth, I guess, at this point. But that's why we're here, right? We see the potential. We see the writing on the wall, actually. This is not going away. All right? And so again, 1.2%, but it's so much cooler than that, because even at just 1.2%, you can see we're still, according to this, if you go by this technology bell curve, we're still in the innovators phase. And I've seen people, even when I joined in 2017, argue that we're in the early adopters phase. I haven't seen anybody argue that we're in the early majority phase, but even like early adopters, okay, you're still pretty early, but at 1.2%, I don't know how you could argue that we're not still in the innovators phase, especially when almost no cryptos are actually functionally being used. But let's take this a step further, because we are XRP holders. If you're listening to this, I'm making that assumption anyway. Maybe you're not. Sometimes we got the occasional Bitcoin maxi troll that wanders away from its bridge, gets a little bit lost, doesn't know what's going on, encounters the Moon Lambo channel, and then it starts getting all hot and heavy, like, Moon Lambo, Bitcoin, where's Bitcoin? And then I just kind of direct them back to the bridge, and everything's fine typically. But that is what they sound like. It's just cute little adorable creatures. I'm telling you, these trolls. But think about this. And let me pull up this page. Let me pull up ledger.exposed, created by Vitze Wind. And you can actually, if you want, you can even type in your own receiving XRP address into this website, and it'll tell you where you stand, what percentile you're in terms of XRP holders. But look at this. Because the XRP ledger is public, you can see how many XRP account activations there have ever been. And as I record this, the answer is 2,130,269, right? Okay. And so how many people on the planet then hold XRP? And again, actually, I should clarify this. So there's 2.1 million accounts. We don't know how many humans that could be. And here's the reason why. There are a couple ways you could look at this, and I haven't seen any data on this. So consider that when you purchase cryptocurrencies on an exchange, there's a destination tag. I'm sure most of you are familiar with this at this point. And that identifies your little sub-address, for lack of a better term, on a cryptocurrency exchange. Because and I think many people don't realize this, but most cryptocurrency exchanges, when you've got your receiving address, that's not solely your receiving address. There's a bunch of XRP in there, and it's mixed in with every other user's XRP effectively. And your destination tag indicates your portion of that effectively. So that's why I was calling it like a sub-address. I don't know if there's a more technical term, in which case somebody let me know in the comments, but that's what it is. And so as a result, the cool thing is, since there's so much XRP in that one account, you can actually withdraw 100% of it. You don't even have to leave your 20 XRP behind as a reserve, because there's all sorts of other people's XRP in that particular account, right? So as a result, we don't know how many XRP holders are there. So it could be more than 2.1 million if most XRP holders, or many of them, are not moving their XRP to cold storage themselves. Then they're not going to have their own separate addresses, which means there could be more than 2.1 million. But we don't know. It certainly could be less. If they're all moving, and also the other reason that it could be fewer is because on the flip side, there could be multiple people like me, for example, that have multiple XRP addresses, and so it does muddy the water. So for the sake of what I'm going to, just for this video, and I know it's not precise, but I don't have a way to get it precise. Let's just assume that the actual number is, let's just round it, 2.1 million humans have purchased XRP. Maybe it's a little less, maybe it's a little more. We don't know, but let's just say it's around there. You're talking about like 0.02% of humans on the planet owning XRP. Now, if XRP, think about this, 0.02%. And so if XRP legitimately becomes the standard for moving money around the planet, a bridge currency, and what if other use cases are picked up? What do you think is going to happen in store of value? Because really, any cryptocurrency that has utility is automatically just going to have store of value, in my opinion. Because there will be people that just want to invest in something to park their money because it's getting used for something, which should increase people's confidence that it's going to be there for the long haul. 0.02%, my friends, that's it. And here you are, and you're in the know, and you even own some of this. In all likelihood, I'm guessing. I think most people that are listening to this actually own XRP. That would certainly be my guess. It's an XRP-centric channel, of course, right? And so think about this, though. How much money has to freaking flow in for it to double? I mean, are you getting a sense of the minimal scale that we're on? And so when people talk about it, especially the Bitcoin maxi types, oh my God, XRP could never get up to $20. You're talking about a multi-trillion-dollar market cap at eventually $20, $30, $40, $50. Multi-trillion-dollar XRP market cap? Well, first of all, nowhere near that much money has to flow in. But just think about it. If you're talking about with that tiny a fraction of the population holding XRP, and it was even fewer 3 years ago when the last parabolic rally happened, when XRP went from 20-something cents to $4. Think about that. That tiny number of humans made XRP go from 20-something cents to damn near $4. And you're telling me that as more people enter the world of crypto, we can't see a 20 or 30 or 40 or $50 XRP? Look, I'm not making price predictions. I'm never going to, because I frankly don't know. And that's why I want to be upfront with you and forthright with everything that I say. I just want to be a genuine human here, and I am. I don't know if it's ever going to hit that. I'm just saying that the argument that it won't because the market cap doesn't make any freaking sense. It's stupid for so many reasons, and I thought I'd illustrate it in this new way, because I haven't talked about it in this way before, but it's a fun way of looking at it. Almost no one even knows what XRP is. And so it takes almost no money coming into the space to get this multiplier effect. That's why you have this opportunity for asymmetrical gains. Next time you talk to a friend or family member that's not in crypto, and then they're like, oh, it sounds like a scam. How can you get all these huge increases? The answer is the markets are illiquid. You can just let them know. That's it. You can illustrate it simply. If there's a $20 bill, how much money has to flow in to double that? Well, just to be another $20 bill. That sounds easy. Okay. What if you have $1 trillion in an asset? How much money has to flow in? You could say another $1 trillion. Well, that would take a lot more people, wouldn't it? Yeah. Now, of course, and that's a little bit of an oversimplification, because admittedly, the net inflow of cash required to bump it up to double in terms of market cap, it's not quite that much, but it illustrates the point of there just being illiquid markets right now. So I think it's sufficient to get people thinking properly in that direction. So I could not be more optimistic and bullish for the long-term viability of this. And again, I see real-world utility here. And while I don't suspect it's going to matter enough during the next market cycle, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because like I mentioned in another recent video, by investing in one cryptocurrency, it's almost like you're investing in like a ton of them, because people as a whole are just investing in this asset class. And sure, at different times, individually, cryptocurrencies, altcoins will rally. But if you zoom in on a chart, it looks like it's all just following Bitcoin. And so as long as Bitcoin keeps going up, XRP and Ethereum and pretty much everything else will keep going up too. That's my suspicion, not financial advice, until people decide to sufficiently parse out the important differences between cryptocurrencies and their real world adoption. But I don't know when the hell that's going to happen. I would have hoped a few years ago that we would have started to see that, but it's 2020 and I've been in this almost 3 years and I'm not really seeing that. I see that people are still pumping coins, this and that. People have not figured it out. There's almost no utility for the asset class in the real world, but there still is a reason this asset class deserves to be here, because there is actual value, which is different than price. It's just that you don't need over 7,000 cryptocurrencies on the planet, which is what exists today. So I think it's cool as hell. And you are at the forefront of this revolution. I don't care. Don't feel bad if you just jumped in now because the asset class has been around for about a decade. Oh, no. You're an innovator at this point. As far as I can tell, you are a freaking innovator. You are the earliest of the early. Just fast forward another 10, 20, 30 years, it'll become clear. You may not feel like it right now if you just joined, and others have been around for, some of them, a decade or so. I get it, but you're still an innovator. That's what's happening here. But I will wrap it up there. Would love to hear what you think about all of this below. But again, I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Nambo!